the Digital Learning Pavilion. This is a podcast that allows the viewer to virtually experience the Digital Learning Pavilion, or DLP, as seen by hundreds of convention attendees. Today's students and educators rely heavily on technology to learn about the world around them, solve problems, and communicate with their peers. Learning doesn't just take place in the classroom anymore. Educators and community leaders must embrace the potential of flexible learning anywhere, anytime, and at any pace. The DLP was designed to showcase this innovative new way of teaching and learning. The Pavilion also demonstrated how current technologies available in a digital learning environment could be the catalyst for teaching and learning in an era when cutting-edge skills, adaptability, and flexibility are paramount. Cell phones, iPods, interactive screen technologies, and social media are just a few of the technology resources incorporated into the DLP. The DLP was designed over a period of 9 months. What evolved was an environment that showcased the exciting world of 21st century learning. Convention attendees who participated in the DLP tour first received an iPod Touch that introduced each area of the pavilion. On the iPod Touch were a series of introductory videos, one for each area of the DLP. The first stop in the tour was the 21st Century Teacher's Home, where working teachers demonstrated how they use wireless resources to collaborate and prepare lessons.
Here you're talking about us working from home in our little home setting here. And from an administrative standpoint, using technology really helps me run my school because during the school day, I have two main jobs. One is to put out fires and two is to take care of the kids. All the logistical stuff has to happen after hours. And with an iPad that I have here, which is half the cost of a laptop, I can do almost anything I want to do from home.
The first thing I have pulled up here for you is a Google document, and basically what this is through Google and their Gmail system, our kids can work on documents collaboratively and share them with me so I can pull them up anywhere that I have internet access and kind of keep tabs on how they're doing. So all I need to do is go into my Gmail account, click on a document that's been shared with me, and so I see how my kids are working on a particular assignment. At home, I can pull up a particular student, open up the assignment that they've uploaded to me, look at it, make some notes here for them to read, give them some feedback on the assignment. And what's even better is this is integrated with our online gradebook system as well, so I can just enter the grade right there. The students have instant access to their grades, the feedback I'm giving them, and what's even better is the parents have access to this as well.
One of the problems that I was encountering in the classroom was I never had enough time to cover all the examples I wanted to cover. And so I used the flip camera to record additional examples. Then I upload that movie file to my webpage, and the students can download that movie file to their iPod Touches or iPhones, and they have access to it 24/7.
Kids are going home to mom and dad who never took things beyond algebra. So mom and dad are helpless to help them. So with our videos online, they can get tutorials and more examples, and really in many cases, we're educating two generations, the student and the parent.
Our classes are integrated with English and history together. So I co-teach with an English teacher. So we were doing a project on Revolutionary War where they were going to create a series of newscasts on the Revolutionary War in different styles, like a satirical kind of Daily Show style, a crossfire debate style, a traditional newscast style. So we thought, what better way to do that than to show them a newscast ourselves. So we shot some footage of us doing a newscast after school one day. I brought the footage home, and on iMovie here, was able to edit together this newscast that we created again to launch the project and also show them what they could do and give them a bar to kind of surpass. They got to see their two teachers kind of act, dressed up kind of silly, and really got them engaged in like, oh, if Mr. Ball and Mr. Burns can do this, we can do even better than that.
In my 7 years as a principal, I've not once ever sent out a paper memo, not once. Everything's always digital.
After experiencing the teacher's presentation, tour members were led by their docent into the 21st century classroom. In this area, teachers and students demonstrated project-based learning, where the role of the teacher has changed from the sage on the stage lecturer of the past to one working as a guide for their students in making learning relevant and engaging.
I actually have a web page up here displayed, which is my web page. Our principal, Mr. Covey, is really big on technology and has all of the teachers have web pages that we update on a weekly basis. I give my lectures in the form of a PowerPoint, and the reason why I do those is so that upon the end of the day, I can go ahead and upload them onto my website for the students. It's the exact PowerPoint that I gave in class, so that they can have the visuals that maybe they need to refer to while they were in lecture, or so that they can go back and write any of the notes that they may have missed. I initially thought at first that it wasn't going to be very successful, but I started noticing that the kids were putting about 100 hits on each lecture each week, especially when it came to exam time. They were actually checking these lectures and going through the information again. I even saw several students actually presenting this to a group of students where they were the teacher and they were giving the actual lecture that I gave, so that they can kind of present it in their own words versus in mine. So it's been very successful.
The other day, I was lecturing on some notes off of my note taker using the smartboard, and using QuickTime, I screencast my voice explaining everything that I'm writing and talking about and made a movie.
And all of the lessons are recorded and put out on the servers for students to have access to. So if they're not there, missed it during class that day, then they have access to step-by-step lessons.
I use iMovie and QuickTime, and in QuickTime I recorded my screen, and iMovie I recorded my voice and my face. And so in different places in my video you can see both me and what I did, and there's other options like that. It took me about 2 afternoons to do the whole video.
I love Google Docs because when you're in group, collaboration is very important, and each person in your group has different parts and different aspects. So if we don't have this application, it's really hard to gather all information together and put it together to make sure that, you know, we have this part of it and that part of it, and make sure that we know their part and that they know our part. So with the Google Doc, we can just put all our research, all our information on there, and we can access it and edit it at any time we want to. And it's not just Google Docs, there's Excel sheets, PowerPoints on there, and it's great, it's beautiful. Anyone can access it that has a Gmail account. So after we go through our process of our entry document and being introduced into our project and doing our knows and needs to knows, what we know about the project, what we need to know about the project, we actually start doing the project. We start the process of benchmarking ourselves, like what information do we need to know by this time so that by this time we can get it done. So this is an outcome of a project that I did. It's my digital portfolio, which is just a big mass of all the things I've done in my high school career. I love this project. It was great, and you can edit it anytime you want to and add things on it. So it's a great thing.
And the best thing about that is presentation kind of can get boring after time to time, but you have groups that do Prezi, you have groups that do videos, groups that do websites, and so it's a different way to look at things, a different perspective. So it gives more information to a student creating it and to the students paying attention to the presentation. So it kind of is knocking 2 birds with 1 stone.
The next stop in the tour demonstrated that learning is no longer limited to the classroom. Students can learn anywhere, as new technologies allow them to do research on location. In a city park, for example, students can attach scientific probes to laptops and communicate their discoveries instantly to fellow classmates back in the classroom. Students and teachers demonstrated these new technologies and talked about outdoor-indoor collaborative projects.
Okay, in freshman year, I started out at a traditional school that I just confined to the 4 walls of the classroom, you know. I'd go to class, listen to teacher talk, take notes, go home, do homework, and come back and do the same thing over and over. Coming to New Tech, I've really expanded my horizons, and there's just like so much more creativity and opportunity there just because of the products that we can create and having technology available to us. Like, there's so much more than just like a poster board that can be created with writing on it, but instead we can make movies and tons of different just like final product.
This is my 2nd year at New Tech, but like she said, the learning is different, but I'm so used to just being able to go wherever I can with my laptop and work on a project, whether it's like outside of my backyard, in a park, anywhere in our community.
School, you can take your laptops home from school and use them outside of school. And in this video, you'll be able to see that it's different from an inside or a confined limited space inside school. And here we go.
We have a lot of freedom to just go anywhere we need to get some work done. What we love about our computers is that everything is on here, so we can go anywhere we need to. We don't necessarily need to be at school or at the library or somewhere with connectivity if we're working on a final product or something. Do a lot of real world learning. I've had to create websites, we've had to create a nonprofit organization in the past few weeks, and just very real world things that are preparing us so much more. And especially with all the projects going, when we're in the workforce, we're going to have a lot of balls up in the air. We're going to have to manage our time and manage our group members because we work in groups for almost everything. and it'll just prepare us a lot more for what we're going to have to do in the future.
Let's now continue our tour into the student's home. While learning takes place anytime and anywhere, a student's primary learning spot away from school is in his or her home. Today's students have access to many technologies. Computers, cell phones, iPods, televisions, stereos, and more are becoming more and more accessible to today's learner. Such technologies extend student learning in ways that are engaging and that leverage individual learning styles and talents to provide an environment to create ideas and a stage upon which to collaboratively share them.
And I am representing the student at home, if you will. So obviously I'm actually working on homework right now.
I'm working on my calculus homework and I'm stumped on one of these questions. What I can do is I can call my professor via Google Talk. Now this is convenient because, hi Mr. Ferraro.
Hey John, how's it going?
Pretty good, and yourself, sir?
Oh, pretty good.
I'm having some difficulties on my calculus homework and I was wondering if you could help me.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay, the question is locate the absolute extrema of the function on the closed interval. And with these programs, it'll actually not just the one and done thing that normal students are used to, like, oh, I gotta turn this in and that's the only try I get. Students have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts to do this problem. And sometimes that is extremely convenient because some students don't always get it the first time, which is really amazing considering that math is not easy.
Laptops are a lot of fun. a lot of fun. And they make projects easier, faster, and funner to do.
It's just a lot more fun for me to do my projects like this because I'm more interested in doing them and doing them a lot better than I would without a laptop.
You're more involved.
Using our school's website, our teachers are able to post blogs and blog threads in which they can pose critical thinking questions, which normally can't be asked during class because there's so much material to cover in such a short amount of time. So using these critical thinking questions, students can post their answers and the teacher can get them instantly and access them to see whether or not they're comprehending the material. This way they can also be posted, students can also read each other's responses and build upon their own critical thinking abilities.
And when you get your laptop, it kind of becomes your life. So you'll take care of them. But they're pretty, it's not too, like, what am I trying to say?
They
don't break that easy.
We don't really have that many problems with them.
Yeah.
The last stop on the Digital Learning Pavilion was an area called the Hub. This was where participants returned their iPods and provided feedback about their experience. They were encouraged to post a tweet using Twitter and answer a short 3-question survey. In addition, participants were able to visit with teachers, administrators, and students from the represented schools. Representatives from Apple, SHW Group, and Smart Technologies were available to answer questions about their contributions to the Digital Learning Pavilion as well. The Digital Learning Pavilion was made possible through the generous assistance of our strategic partners, Apple, SHW Group, and Smart Technologies, who provided valuable design, logistics, and staffing help. Thank you for watching this introduction to the Digital Learning Pavilion. We hope it will help you and other education leaders to continue to learn more about these 21st century learning environments and tools, and to begin the process of implementing these concepts into your own schools and community.